into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
Is that an effect?
The loudest cat in the world.
Remember from last Halloween?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, what did I do for Halloween?
Oh, fuck. I accidentally pressed it twice. Good July, everyone. And welcome.
Happy early Halloween.
Yeah. It's 100 days until Halloween. I saw on the internet the other day. One of those fucking Twitter people.
The most haunted day of the year.
100 days till Halloween.
100% far away from Halloween.
I've heard of 500 days of summer, but how about 500 days of Halloween? Can you imagine if they did a new installation of the franchise?
What kind of crazy girlfriend would you have for that, huh?
Halloween, like a manic pixie dream girl instead of a manic
titty.
witch dream girl.
A manic witchy dream girl. That has to be somebody online's fucking name or whatever.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately almost the same as the manic pixie dream girl, but with subtle
the evil
differences.
side.
I'm sorry, as the most online person here, I have to rule that the internet dictates that the woman you're describing is a big titty goth girlfriend. That's a meme.
How do the words period magic sound to you? I feel like that's a big part of this character.
Yeah.
Compelling?
They better
Because you're using the magic of the moon and its cycle and your cycle, thus combining heaven with earth and unlocking all the powers within.
Sometimes when you live with a woman like that, there's a little bit of magic in the trash can in the bathroom sometimes, and it can be jarring if you're still young and immature.
Yeah.
Like you're in the bathroom and you think you're going to look down and see a used tampon, but it's just a doll made of hair in your likeness.
Yeah. This is just a wand from Hogwarts. Oh, this is a chick apartment now.
That would be... I wonder if this manic witchy dream girl, this would be a good villain. If anyone's a comic book rightist out there, as in a writer-artist, not a right-winger. But she could use her menstruation to, shoot streams at people. We
should tell this to Yodoye because he's writing Batman comics now.
All right.
And that could be Batman's new,
He's kind of our point of entry into the industry.
Into the DCU.
Because I don't really know who else we could send this idea to.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we know anybody?
I don't want to send it to a woman. I feel like it will make me look bad.
My grandfather, Stan Lee, is deceased, but we used to be able to send ideas to him.
Standers Lee here?
Yeah.
Stan Lee here. Hey, toots. Let me see them cans. Didn't you get Me Too'd? Did I make that up?
Did he? I don't think
He's
so.
He's the most Me Too'd man in concept.
Why?
He only exists to be Me Too'd.
Why do you say that?
He fulfilled his purpose and died.
Whoa! Oh shit! Fucking Murray just jumped up on the podcast equipment.
Is that a bad omen?
Murray!
Yeah.
Wait, I have to walk around Murray, so
Rogue operator.
He doesn't cross me.
Jake, did you ever tell our podcast you got a cat, or are you just expecting to read it from your Twitter?
I don't think it's ever come up. I got a cat, everyone. I got a big fat black cat, thanks to Bradley Pearson. Fellow.
Because you're a big titty goth girl.
Friend and podcaster. I'm a big titty goth boy. There's a difference.
Did you flash him in exchange?
There's biology and it's real, Alex. You can't just call me a big titty goth girl.
Let me plug Bradley's podcast since he gave me a cat.
Self-Worst, right?
Self-Worst.
I was on that one, yeah.
Right. I couldn't remember the name of it. I don't want to get it wrong. But it's cool. It's about mental health and shit.
Is this... I'm looking now at a spinning machine. What is that called? That thing? Spin machine?
That is
It's called a
technically
spin machine.
It's a semi-recumbent exercise bicycle
Okay,
that
there
I
you
bought
go.
to try to get rid of my big goth boyfriend titties.
Your titties or your ass?
I'm trying to
Don't answer that.
No, I'm trying to get rid of my titties and build an ass.
Okay. I'm trying to do the opposite. I got some junk in the trunk, but it says
Andrew, stay
cat
away
eye.
from that bike then.
Yeah? Does biking make your butt bigger?
Yes.
Yeah, what do
Really?
you mean? You're using
That's
leg
why I have
muscles.
such a fucking dump truck.
Probably.
Cat eye. It is called, the name of the recumbent is Cat Eye Ergocizer.
Yeah.
We are IRL, by the way. I'm in Brooklyn. Just more back to 2019 style.
Yeah, if the sound is worse, it's because we're in my apartment. Or if it's better.
No, yeah, someone messaged me the last time we did this, and they were like, "Why was your sound so good this time?" And I was like, "I was at Jake's house," and it was like, "Bring his house to your house."
Our usual setup is Anders has a long megaphone-style horn that he holds up on top of a mountain in Washington, D.C., and then we capture that audio through a satellite.
Right.
And that's what you hear today in the studio.
I'm on top of the Washington Monument.
Yelling.
You know what? Why it's also better is because at home in Chocolate City, I drink kratom with tea, and so there's a lot of slurping. And now I get it from a spot I used to love to go to when I lived here, and it's all cold, so you barely hear me taking my sips.
Yeah, but you do gesticulate wildly with it in a way that makes me nervous while having this much electronic equipment out on the table.
This is
Put it
kind
on the
of
floor.
like reverse 2019 because Anders is there and I'm not there, but I get to see your face so I can tell when he's gesticulating.
Yeah. Maybe I can situate the mirror to where you can see.
It's on the floor. My
Put
shit's on
Anders
the
in
floor.
the mirror.
Wait.
That's bad luck.
Wait, look.
There he is.
Wait. You can almost see him.
I have a cool tee on.
Does he show? Oh, that's your shoulder. I thought Anders was bending over for some reason,
You see my
as if
awesome
to show
t-shirt?
off his ass that he mentioned.
For the listener, if you've never seen Anders, someone mentioned he sounds like Yakko the Animaniac, and you just imagine him with a huge dump truck ass, and that's our boy Anders Lee.
Yes, with a bit of a Kelly Ripa face on me.
Sure. I don't remember who that is.
Sure.
Do you see my former host of Regis and Kelly?
Oh, okay.
She took over for Kathy Lee, my aunt. Am I going to keep up with this bit where I say famous people named Lee are my relatives? Yes. Kathy Lee. I watched that every day in the summer when I was a kid because we didn't have cable and my parents would both go to work, and I'd be like, yes, unlimited TV, but it would have to be like The View and Live with Regis and Kelly and maybe Maury.
At what cost?
Yeah.
What is the TV doing to me when I leave it on all day and just suck Regis Philbin into my brain?
He's a very funny guy.
Anders is also related to Tommy Lee, which is why he has a 10-foot-long dick
Yeah.
and a huge dump truck ass.
I actually-
And the rest of his body is Yakko from the Animaniacs.
I convinced a room full of people that he was my dad.
Really?
Yeah, there's this late mic was this mic. I don't think they do it anymore, but it was like a talk show themed open mic. And I went there, and I thought it would be obvious that it was a joke, but I was like talking about how, oh yeah, I have a sort of a strained relationship with my father. He's a C-list celebrity. You may have heard of him, Tommy Lee. And people were like, whoa. And I thought it was obviously ridiculous. Yeah, and I told a story about how he gave me the sex talk by just putting on his sex tape with Pamela Anderson and saying, check it. And that's how he taught me about sex.
That's funny.
And people bought it.
That is how he would do it.
Well,
Yeah.
comedians are fucking stupid. They probably were like, we can network with Anders to get to Tommy Lee.
Can you imagine me
I think
opening
everyone
for
in the
Motley
room
Crue?
skipped past the part where you are so dissimilar from Tommy Lee. It's night and day.
Well, that's why we have a strained relationship.
None of him wore off on you. You are just a different guy.
Well, at least one thing wore off, if you know what I mean.
Anders
just
is
as cute.
him and Pam Anderson's baby. That's why he's blonde.
Right, exactly. And
And
Pam
has-
Anderson
Just his Anders condo.
I actually am quite similar to Pamela Anderson. We all are politically. She's,
She's a comrade, right?
yeah. She's like in
Absolutely, she is.
Yeah.
It's badass. Good for her.
She's someone you want to just find and just hash out explicit details on the issues.
She's
right.
probably one of those celebrities who says something really cool every once in a while, but then says something wildly inconsistent afterwards, and you just try not to think about it.
Right.
Remember when Cher called for a general strike?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was cool, but then, like a month later, she was like, we gotta get the Russians or something, and you're like, okay,
Bro.
this person's...
Mia Khalifa was all here for the Palestine stuff.
Yeah.
1 month later, she's calling for the overthrow of the Cuban government.
Oh,
What happened there?
fuck.
I'm here with a locket that I've put together of her and Ken Klippenstein in a little heart because I want them to get together and make a relationship, and I ship them. And then I just have that in my house with an Iranian Gusano and famous journalist Ken Klippenstein.
Would you watch the tape?
She's not Iranian. She's Lebanese.
What if Ken Klippenstein...
Canceled.
Whatever, man.
He leaked his own sex tape because he's like a FOIA guy. He found it
I'm
via
sure
the Freedom
he's-
of Information Act.
I wonder if he's gotten sex tapes before and like had a dilemma about whether or not you release them. There was.
If anyone you know has access to my sex tape, send it here to this link.
I'm going to tease something forthcoming. There's a great documentary made by a friend of my GF that we've seen a couple times about Larry Flint, who ran for president in 1984, and they basically shut him down because he was a really rich guy. So he was able to totally just like, generate his own media coverage and all that stuff, but they shut down the campaign by like swamping him in lawsuits because he made a joke in Hustler about Jerry Falwell having been, I think it was Jerry Falwell, one of those guys, having had sex with his mother. It was obviously satire, so it went to the Supreme Court and all this whole hullabaloo. But one of the things he did on the campaign is he had a sex tape that he claimed was Ronald Reagan cheating on his wife and getting it up the ass. And they play a piece of it in the documentary, and there's no proof that it's not Ronald Reagan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun sound-wise.
Ooh.
Ooh, mother.
There you go again. There I come again.
Quit monkeying around back there.
Oh, man.
The monkey is also there, by the way. The monkey is watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something about jelly beans. I don't know. Ronald Reagan. Have you ever seen The People Under the Stairs?
No, I think we
curl
talked
your
about
finger.
that.
You're going to feel a jelly bean.
I may have talked about it on
People,
the show.
the rap group?
No,
We had
horror
the same
film.
exact conversation once.
Did we really?
Yeah. I don't remember how
Fuck.
it went, but if we don't want to...
Okay, I'll skip it.
Shit!
How did this happen to Mia? That's what I want to know. Because is this just a case of someone who is plugged into social media that their views jump from whatever's trending to trending, and for a while they managed to get Palestine more priority than
That's
Israel?
a really good point, and I think it probably segues into something that we talked about talking about. Here's why celebrities are stupid, right? They're
Yes, Jake, get them.
Well, they're not like so right-wing fucking people are stupid because they watch Fox News and consume conservative media, right? Liberals are stupid because they watch fucking whatever other cable news and consume liberal media, and they're all like consistent. And then you have this third group of people who aren't like, they're not like looking at one of the huge bug lights, but they're still like just getting their news from like online or something, which is a thing you can cherry pick.
Right.
Things that are like facilitated towards you from media outlets for specific reasons.
Yeah.
So you can end up kind of being right about certain things because we put out there things like, for example, Medicare for all. But if you're not part of like a socialist organization or some sort of thing that is operating to try to be like a funnel the same way that, these cable news outlets are, then you can be like, right one day, jump on with Medicare for all, and then the next day, because there's no consistency and there's no undergirding ideology, you're just also like a Russia Gator or whatever, or like a weird Gusano, etc. Right? And so I think that's kind of embodied in this like weird Medicare for all march thing that's happening right now, because like there's like Nazis and anti-vaxxers and shit speaking at it, and it's not an organized thing. It didn't come from fucking DSA or PSL or anything like that. It's just a bunch of extremely online people, right?
A lot of very sick people are getting together today.
Yes, I mean, it is like there are DSA contingencies and things at the march. I mean, yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because I was not a supporter of Force the Vote, and there's a lot of that behind it. But which is, what I was hoping is that at the end of that, because it didn't happen, like a lot of those people would say, okay, well, what do we do? Let's get involved and organize for Medicare for All. And if they want to do a march, great. It's just a question of what happens after the march, in California.
Hypothetically, not bad there's a march.
Right. Yeah.
Who doesn't love a good march?
Yeah. Hey, I go to them all the time. But the question is, like, is that going to be a sustained thing? Like, is that going to funnel into organizations, right? Because that's one of the problems there's this fetishization of sort of decentralized political change, which, I'm not a democratic centralist, but I do think political organization is really important, and to have like an institution that can decide things democratically and put resources into things like fighting for Medicare for All, a state single payer system in California, where a lot of these marches are happening, and hopefully that's what comes in. People are at the march canvassing for, this is how you get involved. Let's pass it in California, make it the first state in the nation to have a fucking government insurance. But yeah, it remains to be seen if that's gonna happen or not.
Let me just tag back in on what Jake was saying. I do think it relates to the Medicare for All march in terms of, just how regular people get their information. It makes perfect sense to me that a celebrity like Mia Khalifa would be pro-Palestine, but then anti-Cuba a month later, just from a very zoomed out perspective on the raw amount of dollars and power put into pro-America, anti-Cuba propaganda versus pro-Israel, anti-Palestine propaganda, which is just one has a much higher dollar value than the other one. There was 30 to 40 years of nonstop, relentless barrage of anti-communist propaganda coming out of America. And people, like, that's in the water. You take that in even if you're not going out of your way for it. I'm watching Rocky IV later tonight. I'm excited to see a Slavic man beat someone to death with their hands, but I know I'm going to come away a darker man for it.
Every old movie is about this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if you talk to people who don't consider themselves political, they're probably against the Cuban government.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just been in movies and shit for the last 30 years. It takes a conversation to change their mind.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I remember Jared Leto gave a speech after he was, Dallas Buyers Club? I always get these movies mixed up that came out in 2012 or 13. But he played a trans woman.
Yeah, it was Dallas Buyers Club.
Okay.
That was Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, and in his Oscar speech, he was like, trans people in America, fucking Iranians, Venezuelans, who, because there's some, I stand
It's the best actor
with
award.
and
It's like,
for you.
Oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
I stand what?
I stand with and for you. Like,
fuck
in this
does that
movie
mean?
about playing a trans person in America, which is, important, but also not necessarily doesn't have anything to do with the Venezuelan government,
Yeah.
which was like, yeah, it's just
He just read some shit
Right.
that day and has the weird Ashton
It was
Kutcher
trending on
fucking
Twitter, yeah.
thing of like, I'm a celebrity, therefore I have a responsibility to say stuff, not so much to learn stuff,
Yeah.
just to say stuff and, parrot whoever the fuck tells me that I sound intelligent when I say one thing. It's so stupid.
Sometimes I have to sell vodka, but other times I have to defend Iran.
The thing that kills me about the "we stand with the Cuban people" thing is like, there's this thing that Vincent Bevins tweets about a lot. I think is a really good point, which is just that, like, it's stupid to talk about an entire country like a monolith. You would never do that about America if you were talking about how fucking complex and at odds with other American people are. So, like, to say I stand with the Venezuelan people is like, or the Cuban people or whatever people, it's like really reductive and deceptive because you're saying all of them are on one side of a thing.
Right.
But what you should be saying is, I stand with the Cuban people against the other Cuban people, which makes it sound
I stand with the Cuban people I agree with.
Yeah.
Which is the honest version of that, and happens to be the majority of Cubans. It's, I think, pretty apparent, do not want to, completely overthrow the government and set up a capitalist system like they have.
Right, but what about the city of Miami, Anders? Have you taken their views into account?
I stand with the people of Miami. And by that, I mean
overthrowing the Cuban government and possibly killing JFK.
No, I stand with the one guy there who's against that stuff. He's the people of Miami in my book.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how it works.
Man, he's got to have a hard time because that is very unpopular down there.
I mean, literally in Miami, Dade County, a little over 20 years ago, there was basically a coup that decided the president of the United States. Like, they were literally counting ballots in a room for an election that was going to decide the presidency.
Go again.
I don't even know how he walked into Hanging Chad discourse, but let me just give a weekly update on our current events episode. Podcast news. After all the exciting Cuba protest stuff, for the last 2 weeks, Joe Biden is adding more sanctions to Cuba. He went the other way with it.
I am the party.
It makes no sense.
We're gonna make pineapple expensive, Jack. His whole thing is he's targeting specific individuals, and then the line is like no president ever before, except Trump was doing that before, specifically to Cuba. Right. I got the quote from the White House here. He's hoping that the tariffs, quote, not tariffs, whatever the fuck it is, you know what it is. He hopes
Sanctions.
that they're advancing human dignity and freedom is a top priority for my administration, and we will work closely with our partners throughout the region, including the Organization of American States, to pressure the regime to immediately release wrongfully detained political prisoners, restore internet access, and allow the Cuban people to enjoy their fundamental rights. Which, reading that paragraph, there is a pause where you're like, is this entirely about posting? Like, is the new Cold War just like mods out? And that's where the money is going.
The thing is, they have internet access. It's free there, but it's really slow and hard to use because of the embargo. So it's shit we're doing. I mean, and this
but
thing,
even like on paper, like who fucking cares? That's a different country. How come we are involved at all?
Yeah. No.
I mean, like rhetorically, if you were sympathetic to the line here, and you think that new sanctions are a good idea, why would this persuade you?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess the reason behind it is just political, right? Because Obama didn't start, normalizing diplomatic relationships with Cuba until he was in his second term, and Trump, of course, reversed all of that, and Biden has even gone further than Trump. And I think they didn't win Cuba, or fucking Cuba, God, Florida. They did not win Florida. They did not win New Cuba in 2020. They don't need it politically. I guess they're trying to maybe for the midterms knock off a Republican senator or something. I don't even know who's up for Rubio, maybe. And they're like signaling to the Gusanos, like, hey, we hate the Cubans even more than the Republicans, and maybe that'll get some of them to jump ship. But like, that's not a sustainable strategy, right? I mean, that's what they're trying to do. But we already showed in 2020 politically, you don't need Florida. Ohio and Florida are basically red states now.
How about what if you're Cuba and the United States is fucking up your internet connection? Cuba moves its laptop really close to the edge and then tries to just steal internet from the United States.
Miami's internet.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Hypothetically, if I were to live in a situation like this.
They should have some kind of offshore router that's stationed in between Florida and Cuba that boosts the signal.
Or like an underground, like they ran an actual line to just steal cable like Bernie Sanders did when he was in college.
Right. They kind of look up to him over there.
I saw Mexico is sending stuff to Cuba now. medical
About what
supplies.
Andrews was saying a second ago, if this was Hillary Clinton or somebody like that, I would believe that this whole sanctions thing has a 4-dimensional chess. We have to isolate Florida and get more votes out of it thing. Joe Biden, I think, is just an old man who remembers the Cold War and wants to do it some more. I guarantee you.
I don't know.
He
I
was
think it's
the
political.
conservative in the Obama ticket, and now he gets to do whatever he wants some more, even though he doesn't remember where he is.
But he loves bragging about stuff Obama, which, most of it was shit. But of the few good things that Obama takes credit for, he loves to take credit for too. So I think it is political. It's just like there's so many better ways to, maneuver politically than just making people's lives worse.
I think the thing with Biden is that because like the presidency is such a unique situation to be at, it's like the end point of your career. Also, when you're as old as Biden and you've sworn like not to go for re-election and stuff like that, I think he's probably, it's like a fucking horror story or something. It's like so tragic. He's probably consumed by all of the political compromises that he's ever made in his career that caused him to become this like conservative dickhead. You remember we read that book about his entire career? And like, all of this stuff is opportunistic. So just slowly over the years, he's just like adding more and more of these weird policies into his rhetoric. He could now he could not be doing this stuff. He could be, I'm the most progressive president ever or whatever, but it's just all he knows how to do. And it's all that he did to get him into the office.
Right.
And it's all he wants to do. Let's not forget he's living his twilight years
his brain
at the top of the game.
Fucking, it's a paint bucket now with a stick hanging out of it. It's over, So it's like, it's like a computer that's just running a program, doesn't know they're running it. Like it sucks because you watch him and you're like, he could technically not do this,
Yeah. I don't
you
think
wish
he has
you could spend your retirement crushing an island nation 30 miles to the south of your border?
Yeah. And also, I guess, outside of his individual will, it's just like, what even happens if you get someone into an office like the presidency that decides not to do stuff like this? I mean, isn't there other infrastructure in place that like pressures them to?
Well, I mean, what Obama did was normalize diplomatic relationships, but he couldn't lift the embargo. He actually wanted to, but Congress refused to do it. And that's why there just needs to be popular pressure. I mean, with foreign policy in general, we just need, and it's hard to do. And people always say like, oh, well, U.S. socialists, they don't care enough about foreign policy. Well, any country, the domestic politics are going to take the priority. That's not unique to the United States. The thing we talk about most is domestic policy, but in order to, I think, win domestic policy, policy gains that will help people, working class people in America, we have to take a step back from the rest of the world and stop interfering with people, other countries, and like that's a priority that needs to be had because it's difficult to make this particular argument because I think there is a lot to be said for people in America not wanting more wars. Right, that's a popular stance. I think it can be a popular stance to say, let's stop fucking spending money on bases and all this shit, bring it home. It's a little tougher to make the argument that we need to lift this embargo because it's hurting people when you have all the propaganda about Castro. But that's something that I think we need to do. We need to fight for, and we can make it a legitimate political issue that will, put egg on the face like someone like Biden or Kamala Harris. They're just making people's lives worse. You're starving people for no reason. You're preventing them from getting vaccinated in Cuba and Palestine and a lot of places. Yeah.
Like, if you're listening to this podcast and you're looking for the exclusive dumb guy take on what should the good president do to fix all the bad things, I always fall back to this, which is that the power balance of the executive branch is completely broken since 9/11. And if you want something bad enough, you can probably do whatever the fuck you want. Sure, maybe you'll get killed in a coup, but you could go for it.
That's
I don't know. Not a Bernie Sanders, but I don't know, like a solid snake type figure you get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean,
I guess Solid is Snake. Because he was the one who was the president.
I've never played those games. I wish I could riff on this with you. They sound so fun.
Metal Gear.
Okay, this is how we get a president into the White House who has good politics. He hides in a cardboard box
Okay.
And then he sneaks real close to it. That's everything I know
Big
about.
exclamation point comes up over the box when somebody sees the box move.
Yeah, this is everything I remember about Metal Gear Solid.
I will say,
That's the judicial branch.
This is probably going to, be, difficult for some people to think about because it's still so soon after Bernie, and that, was heartbreaking and all that. And a lot of people giving up on electoral politics.
Oh no, heartbreak over, man. It's now we're in the slutty time. We can get back into it.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm optimistic.
We're all behind Curtis Sliwa for New York mayor. We all have our new guy.
I am somewhat optimistic about 2024. Biden is old as fuck. He's like falling apart in front of our eyes. I don't think he's going to run again. And Kamala Harris, her support is underwater. Like even the Democratic, apparatchiks understand this, that she cannot be the nominee. So they might try to put someone, she might try to run, and there might be some other alternative establishment candidate, which would be a decent scenario for someone from the left to sneak in there. I think it's possible.
Bro, if she runs again, they are 100% just going to be like, whatever, we're doing Kamala now.
But she's going to lose. They know she's going to lose. She would be.
They don't care. They love to lose. They're addicted to losing. It's like fentanyl.
The donors don't want to lose. I think they understand that she's toxic, and they're going to pick somebody else.
I mean, Kamala is unpopular individually, but if she ran, she would represent the Biden administration and the Democrats in whole fucking thing, right? Don't you think she would I don't think that that necessarily.
Joe Biden is currently the president.
You're right. Good example. People didn't vote for Joe Biden because they liked him. He was actually he was doing horribly, but everyone got scared and was like, well, he is the Democratic Party, essentially. He's not a new, weird, fucking Buttigieg thing, even. That's their strength. That's where their power comes from, is this realism, right? That you're where else are you gonna fucking go? So I could see her being at least a contender, but I think you're right.
Biden's pitch was that he's electable, so people didn't necessarily love him, but they're he can win. I don't think there's that same sense with Kamala Harris.
Don't you think that isn't that why vice presidents run? Is because they're I'm electable because I was already in there.
But it doesn't. It's only worked one time in U.S. history.
You're
George
correct
H.W.
that it's a
Bush
bad idea.
is
You're
only setting.
100% correct.
That's the thing. It is a bad idea, but they will do it. They do it all the time.
Yeah, they'll do it. I'm just saying, I think there's an opportunity for somebody, I don't know if it's going to be another Bernie or someone with politics
It's AOC, right?
Well, we'll see. AOC,
who's currently, in leftist jail,
Right, that's the thing, is if it's, we have already, they love the fact that the establishment loves the fact that AOC has been discredited in the eyes of a huge chunk of people who voted for Bernie for what are a few legitimate grievances rolled in there, but the vast majority of the reason is just completely rhetorical and just out of context bullshit. This, we're doing their job for them by completely delegitimizing her based on annoying tweets.
I wouldn't read too much into online discourse about AOC reflecting her actual popularity. She's probably still the most popular politician in the country.
Yeah, I mean, but she's gotten in trouble with leftists online, but the problem is we don't have any influence. Our approval rating doesn't fucking matter. So I think she'd actually do pretty well, and then I think most people, except for just extreme fucking psychos, in Australia, for example, who can't vote here anyway, I guess. I think most people would fall in line behind her. It's not exciting. I mean, that already sounds like a compromise to me. But
really, AOC? I mean, I feel like in terms of policy, she's as exciting as Bernie. They have the same basic, principles.
I know, but just to know that she's said stuff. That she said, I stand with the Cuban people, yada, yada, yada. It sucks. But the thing is, we're the only people smart enough to know that sucks.
Right,
so I don't think it would hurt her campaign at all.
If she says that and lifts the embargo, I don't give a fuck. If she lifts the sanctions and she wants to say whatever stupid, pablum about Cuba, that's fine.
We just said how hard that would be. I mean, if she doesn't want that bad to do it, she wouldn't do it. But either way, I feel like we're talking way out of left field here for an election very far away.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, though, and I understand that, and I think it's way too soon to make any solid determinations. But the other side, the establishment, they're doing this already, right? But it's all behind closed doors, and we don't have that luxury of really like planning things, sort of secretly, and we have millions of dollars, billions to spend. Like the left,
but we just talked about how they make terrible decisions all the time.
I know. Well, yeah, but they're still way ahead of us. They're still way ahead of us in winning, the primary battle. So if we want to do that, we have to start thinking about it, I think, pretty soon. That's just
look. Jeff Bezos went to space this week.
Yes.
He took a boy ward and an 82-year-old woman and his brother.
Who are these people?
And he went to space. And then when he landed, he said, "Best day ever." And that's the news for the world's richest and most powerful man.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos.
Who is the ward? Who is this kid? I saw a really annoying tweet from someone who preemptively been like, people are going to try and cancel me over this, but that young black man could have been in the streets selling crack, but instead he's in space.
Wait a minute.
That's so unnecessary to say that. That's so hurtful.
The 18-year-old he took was a black dude?
I think so, right? I don't know. I didn't really.
Was he? Was this like a "you're the man now" dog situation? It was like,
like finding Forrester, but about being an astronaut.
Yeah, to get him off the streets.
Yeah, you have no other option.
He's like,
it's a very expensive after-school program where we send you to space.
Right.
The beginning of the movie, we're met with a rough and tumble young gangster who likes to do hip hop, and he's robbing a store with his friends, but he gets in trouble, and then instead of going to jail, the judge is like, "I've got a really weird idea," and then he's like, "You have to do a program with," and then Jeff Bezos comes into the room, and he's like, "Yeah, this is like a conservatorship sort of situation, but it's gonna better you." And they start rapping with Jeff Bezos.
Boom.
I have to jump in here. This is a very white boy. I have the picture.
Really?
Okay.
I don't know what this tweet was.
Okay, but I already wrote half the movie, so it's still gonna be the white kid. But he's like, Bezos is sitting on the chair backwards, and he's rapping with him, and he's like, what's cooler than gangs is rocket science, and they start
big bangs. That's cooler than gangs.
Big bang.
That's right.
Yeah, this boy looks like a Habsburg. He's like 4 gene pools over 600 years shaped. I'm pretty sure he has the spot. He's a millionaire's son, and he has the spot because there was a guy who won in a raffle, and then his wife forbid him from going to space. I believe is the idea. So they went together, and it's just him and a very old astronaut and the Bezos brothers, and they had jokes and they passed each other Skittles. And there are all these.
Go ahead.
There are all these quotes of like, "You'll never believe what they said on their 10-minute trip to space." The entire trip was 10 minutes long. And most of the quotes were, "Upon launch, the gang said, woo-hoo."
Wow.
Can you believe this? And stuff like that. Like it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And not a infrastructure project of a new and disturbing kind.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. You can go, there's like an Air and Space Museum where there's like a little like simulation. Like it's like a fucking thing you can just get in that just kind of makes you feel like you're in 0G for a couple seconds.
Embarrassingly, I used to think the Air and Space Museum was the Aaron Space Museum. Like it was named after a person named Aaron.
My name's Aaron Space.
Yeah.
This is my
Brandon
museum.
Ream has a one-liner about that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. Okay.
Ooh.
It's based on.
And so I have to credit comedian Brandon Ream here on our podcast because I cannot stay silent while these one-liners are poached.
Is it a Brandon Ream joke or a stupid thing Child Anders thought?
Ooh.
I think it's complex enough to be both. Well, we all know the basics of this conversation, which is these motherfuckers are taking billions of dollars and going to space to leave us to burn alive. But does anybody have any other thoughts?
Well, I was just thinking, like, everyone that went to space with Bezos is a coward for not opening the door of the spaceship while they were in space. I know you
think
probably
his
would.
brother Mark Bezos would open the door?
I mean, yes. Who's the money going to other than Mark, right?
Perfect crime,
Yeah.
except that he also dies. But
He's in the spaceship. Not to mention, you'll kill venerated astronaut Wally Funk.
Well, he could have been like, "Hey, Jeff, why don't you go out and check something?" and then knocked him off. Was it all filmed though? I don't think he would have been able to get away with that.
I think that you should
I think
have just
they're
sacrificed
close
your
brothers,
own
first
life.
of all.
The kid should have just taken one for the team. I know he's only 18, his whole life's ahead of him, but you'd be a hero. There'd be a statue of you.
I would say he's 18. He's got to be stronger than Jeff Bezos, but Jeff Bezos is on like scientific drugs to be a like vascular lizardman.
Yeah.
There's no way he could overpower him. The
Man,
guy's huge.
he would be such a scary like final boss. After you beat the regular boss, the mech that he guards the Amazon compound, he comes out
Yeah,
and
he has strong Lex Luthor aesthetics, which is his burden to overcome. And I think he's done it because everyone was so happy that he went to space for some reason. And there's a lot of, honestly, like anybody who's paying attention from a political perspective is like, Jeff, you're going to kill us by taking all this money to space. And then his witty retort for this, he had a response to the media critiquing him and his space innovations, doing something that happened in the 50s, but again, for no reason. His response was that, no, it's not a waste of money and it's not selfish. What we're going to do is move all extractive industries to space.
Okay.
And then all the pollution will be in space.
How could that go wrong?
Do you know about the gravity well? That whole thing? So there's the reason like SpaceX happened. Remember when Trump made SpaceX and I was like, what the fuck is
Space Force?
this? Or Space Force,
Space
yeah.
Force.
Everyone's like, this is insane. He's just a weirdo child man. You know, that's funny and everything. But the real story behind it apparently is that, so ever since like Operation Paperclip and shit, like the Nazi rocket scientists that we sucked into the United States, there's been this question over this thing called the gravity well, because the way you get into space is as the moon orbits around the planet, its gravitational pull creates an opportunity to get a rocket up into that space and then be able to break through the atmosphere, I think is how it works. If you're a rocket scientist, don't get mad at me. I'm probably fucking this up, but like that's the general idea: is that you can't just bust out of the atmosphere at any given point. You have to go through essentially like a channel that's constantly moving around the planet.
You have to find it?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what you have to calculate. Oh, it's gonna be it passes through this point at this time or whatever. That's why you can't do a rocket
The moon's
launch
prostate
at any given point, right? And so apparently. I can't remember which Nazi it was, but the first Nazi, that was working with the U.S. government over this sort of stuff was like, you need the next frontier is going to be claiming control over the gravity well, because if you could technically figure out a way to own it, you can own like transport through. This is when everyone thought in fucking 20 years or whatever there's going to be like colonies on the moon and stuff like that. But I think that's still the idea, is privatization of the path into fucking space for these fucking Elon Musks and whoever's.
Right, and that's
what's
what
funny
Space
about
Force
that,
is all
though?
about. It's going to the contractors, and they're not taking into account the sheer amount of junk that is in the atmosphere from like satellites, like satellite parts that are.
I was just about to say this.
Yeah, like if we try to make this a regular thing, that's going to cause like massive accidents because all this junk is in the atmosphere, and we're
You're going to be sliced up by a Comcast sat.
Yeah.
Is that what you want? You're going to be snickety-snicked by a television floaty from the 70s. All you gotta do is get that space elevator going. The thing is, you can't have capitalism in space. The Gundam series has been very clear about this. They're gonna take the moon and drive it into the Earth, and then who knows what? We'll have children battling Gundams.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah. Why is it that in a lot of these, well, maybe this is just the case with the one with Shinji. What am I thinking of?
Shinji, Evangelion.
That it's children who can pilot these things. Is that
that's why Bezos brought the child with him?
Ah, okay.
So that they get a taste.
Yeah.
This is going to be you, and you're going to need to use your psychic powers to control our big robot that looks like a man.
But it's because their brains are newer or something? Like, why is it better to have kids in those things?
I thought it was a
so there's a media reason and there's a lore reason. The lore reason for most of the Mobile Suit universe, and I'm sorry, I am going to explain this on our podcast, is that all of the adults have died in space combat, and so they are forced to make teens pilot the weapons. It's actually extremely dark. The media reason is the show is targeted towards teens, and you will like it better if it's teens.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Gotcha.
This Japanese shit is always about some kid in
I mean, Evangelion is mostly about, like, isn't it weird when you get hard in the morning? This is a show about that. So
yeah.
It's only secondarily about space time.
It's a metaphor for puberty, and it's 1 million episodes long. I never finished it.
And they have no budget for the last 8 episodes.
Yeah, I couldn't get through the last episodes too. Yeah. Wacky.
Congratulations.
Well, you know what I could get through? An incredible article I just read about Curtis Sliwa, who is, as you know, the Pod Damn America endorsed candidate for mayor of New York City. Mm-hmm. The founder of the Guardian Angels, who is the Republican nominee for mayor, who's doing the thing that you do when you're not going to win, but you did win the nomination of the party that doesn't win. And so you just kind of have this weird, meaningless campaign where you get to go do various fun
You leverage
things.
the Republican Party to recruit for the Guardian Angels to do karate on the subway.
Yeah. So this is an article in the New York Post. I'll link. It's by Jason Bieferman and Gabrielle von Ruge.
We're having fun. It's the weekend, y'all.
Republican candidate for mayor Curtis Sliwa said that the NYPD and Brooklyn District Attorney need to do more to clean up East New York after a post investigation, as in the New York Post, revealed a rampant open-air sex market amid lax enforcement. It's become a quasi-red light district, Sliwa railed during an afternoon press conference Friday as he held up a copy of the Post's front-page story in the Probe. I grew up here. I still know some of these people who reside here, and they should not have to put up with a red light district opening in their backyard. This is not a red light district. Red light districts are where I think everything's legal.
Yeah, in Amsterdam, yeah.
Yeah, this is just, well, we'll get to what it is. Okay, the Post spent months surveilling a heavy trafficked quote-unquote stroll in the neighborhood and watched each night as dozens of half-dressed women were sex trafficked to a steady stream of men while pimps pulled the strings from the shadows.
Which half was dressed?
Hats and shoes. Experts and law enforcement sources pointed to a concerted lack of enforcement that started when district attorneys across the 5 boroughs stopped enforcing prostitution-related offenses. So the New York Post is an evil conservative news rag, and as we all know, this is all code for enforcing what do you call it? Sex work prohibition against sex workers. He wants to fucking prosecute the sex workers, not the, whatever.
Right.
But they're just wording it very carefully and, just fucking decrim and legalize and shit and all this stuff goes away, right?
If you needed another reason to vote for him.
The reason that I'm bringing this up at all is just because there's this really awesome picture. It's captions, Curtis Sliwa, disgusted by the Brooklyn sex market, holds up a discarded condom from the area. So he, apparently when they were taking this picture, word on the street is the camera man advised him multiple times not to do this, and he insisted. And so now there's a picture of the guy running for mayor on the Republican ticket holding a used condom in his hand, just raw.
Amazing. Amazing back and forth there.
And he's smiling.
Don't do it. Go, just take the picture. No, it's gross. It's gross. You're going to be in the newspaper.
What is it? What is this? Like, why does he want to take this photo? What does he think this op like means? And there's another guardian angel, like a fat guy behind him with sunglasses and the red beret on, hands on his hips as if to say, we're cleaning up the streets.
Does he have a glove on
That's
at
the
least?
white thread come
No
off.
glove.
No
Okay.
glove. They tried to get him to wear one, and he didn't.
He didn't. I will admit I did that when I was 13 at a park because I was there with my friends and I thought it was funny. And there was a used condom.
Were you
Were
77
you running
years
for
old?
Republican mayor of New York at the time?
Well, I was extreme afterwards. I was like, I immediately regretted it because it was disgusting. Yeah, but
Around when the jizz got on my fingers, I started having second thoughts.
it's actually so in New York City a few years ago. I don't know if they still do this, but condoms are used as like probable cause. So for sex workers. So if they suspect somebody's being a sex worker, they open their backpack, and if there's rubbers in it, you get fucking booked.
Yeah.
That used to be the case. I don't know if it still is.
I don't know what the official law is anymore, but that was definitely a thing, and it's stupid because it prevents then safe sex from happening and yada yada yada. You know where they took away condoms? The Tokyo Olympics, because rather than not have the Olympics, which are evil as we know from our friends who came on the show, no Olympics.
Unless they take place on top of Mount Olympus every year as the ultimate contest in front of the gods.
Yeah, as it was intended. So the Tokyo Olympics thing is that because they are not just going ahead and stopping the Olympics because it would be, against capitalism and everything, they are having them, but they're worried about the spread of coronavirus. I just said that like it was like month one of this COVID-19. Because like Olympic athletes notoriously all fuck each other at the Olympics. It's the end of their long training season.
Everyone has an amazing bod.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they?
It's the only reason to go.
And then it's like a Comic Con. Like they're all like in a co-ed fucking hotel situation together or whatever. So they took away condoms. They give you a condom on the last day, I think is the thing. Like
You get one? Like a ration?
You make it to the end.
yeah, like a weird gift bag thing. And I guess maybe that means, I don't know what that means. Are you supposed to fuck on the way to the airport or how it works? And then
During the ceremony when they get the medals.
they also, that'd be cool. Everyone's just rocked up, dick out.
I'm having fun imagining this as a comic convention where everyone dresses up as an animal from their respective countries. You just have the entire American team fucking in eagle suits.
Dude, under socialism, that's what the Olympics will be. It'll be better.
That's all I want. I've been clear since day one. That's what I want.
Yeah. So the other thing that they did is that this is also like clearly just to save money, but like the beds are all made of cardboard, and the way that whoever the fuck is in charge of this is explaining it is they're made of cardboard to prevent the Olympic athletes from fucking on the beds because it can sustain the weight of one person's body, but if two people are on it, it like crashes and collapses. Then your bed's broken, and then everyone knows that you fucked. I guess it's like you're in trouble, and then you get kicked out of the Olympics or whatever. But like, obviously, this raises so many like questions. Like, couldn't you just not fuck on the bed? You're an Olympic athlete,
Right?
Like,
you can find ways.
They're gonna do it.
God, they're taking away the best / only good part of the Olympics. Like the displacement of homeless people is terrible, right? The ice being, given carte blanche in LA in 28 is terrible. The orgy, though, is the only thing they should keep because there's so much other bad shit. It's
so important.
Right. They could just do that every 4 years, and now
it should be an event.
Right.
The last person to bust wins the gold medal.
Yeah.
They're our strongest humans. We need to breed them together.
True.
Uh-oh. That sounds a little bit...
It's a little bit like the 19
from the left.
You sound like the 1932 Olympics, if you know what I'm saying, in Berlin.
Yeah.
I stand by it.
I think that they should
did
give
you guys see
all
the thing about...
I was going to say, I think they should give all the cardboard beds after the Olympics to the local Japanese cats because they love to play in cardboard.
True.
They do, and they have whole little towns that are like little cat towns. It's fun over there.
I love that.
The Japanese people furious there is Olympics happening over there because the country is still in lockdown.
Yeah.
Except 10,000 foreigners are coming and a bunch of them are unvaccinated.
God.
So apparently, like culturally, it's a big kind of taboo to protest, and you don't get very big protests over there, except for the Olympics, where people are like trying to bust into the studio and like shut it down.
Right.
People are going online and doing cancel culture to the directors.
Yeah.
The past two program directors were comedians who had jokes dug up from like 1998.
How did they become? I still don't get why they were given like fucking like David Twitty is now the head of the Olympics.
Wait, are these Japanese comedians?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them is named Kobayashi, which was surprising that I didn't realize that was such a common name in Japan. I thought it was just the athlete with the hot dog eating.
What the fuck is my cat doing? Japanese comedy is like, it is kind of physical. So on some level, I can see how that pertains to the Olympics. Because like a lot of it is just like you go on a TV show and they just break boards over you and shit. They're
Nice.
like, give it up for your comedian. You know, the punching
That's it.
bag.
Look how strong he is. Do you like that?
We love strong.
One of them, the most recent one, had to resign after they dug up a joke of him in 1998 making light of the Holocaust, which is like,
Whoopsie. I mean,
comedian caught doing comedy in 1998.
he was staying loyal. They were both Axis countries. You know?
Yeah. It's the last taboo. And then the other one, I don't have it up in front of me, but said something like 10 years ago, making fun of fat women and suggesting the Olympics should have an Olympig.
Ooh.
You know, like Olympics, but a pig. And it's a fat lady or something.
I mean, that sounds awesome.
And then they were like, you have to leave the country now.
I honestly,
we're going to kill you.
fuck the Olympics. Hire this comic. This guy sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, I just want to say something about director Kobayashi. Super talented writer, great in any room. He can direct any sports program you have going on, so just help a guy out. He's on rough times right now.
Is he going to do Rogan after this?
That'd be
He
bad.
should, dude.
Have they ever had a translator was for somebody who doesn't speak English on Rogan?
Probably not, because that sounds like that would make a terrible podcast. But that would be cool, because Rogan would be all racist and shit.
Yeah.
You'd be like, so what's your deal? What do you look like?
You should go on tour with Tony Hinchcliffe. That'd be they could, be a duo and be like, it's okay to be.
You could be one of those comics who's
Right.
like, I actually think it's okay, and I'm
Yes.
the thing that you made fun of.
Just like, yes.
I know 10 of those guys right now who are trying to do that with Tony Hinchcliffe. It's
Right,
because he's
right.
fucking in Austin, and I know everybody down there.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
And they're going to go on, they're going to join all those quote unquote Indians who are so upset about the Cleveland baseball team's new name, the Guardians, who our former president announced the people who are going to be most hurt by this are, his words, Indians.
Oh, yeah,
that
that
up?
thing that he fucking... Let me see if I can find it. Every time he releases a statement like
I
this,
have it on my phone.
it looks like a joke.
You don't want to paraphrase anything Donald Trump says, because the original version is always so much funnier than any explanation you could possibly have describing it.
Should I read the whole thing?
Please, just go for it.
In Trump voice?
Yeah,
Okay.
have fun with it.
Can anybody believe that the Cleveland Indians, a storied and cherished baseball franchise since taking the name in 1915, changing their name to the Guardians? Such a disgrace. And I guarantee that the people who are most angry about it are the many Indians of our country. Wouldn't it be an honor to have a team named the Cleveland Indians? This is kind of a light Trump. I'm not going to go.
I was going to say, this is veering off, but I'll take it.
I didn't know I was going to do this. So I normally would have practiced.
What's his face from Death Wish?
Bronson, Charles Bronson.
The Indians.
The Indians, man. It's Bob Dylan.
The Indians.
Wouldn't it be an honor to have a team named the Cleveland Indians? And wouldn't it be disrespectful to rip that name and logo off those jerseys. The people of Cleveland cannot be thrilled, and I, as a former baseball fan, cannot believe things such as this are happening.
Former baseball fan.
Yeah,
Not a former Cleveland fan.
Right. Just the sport of baseball has been ruined.
Entire sport. Not even the league. The sport. The practice.
But I love how he ends his sentences.
When he's being very petty. That's the peak of the former president, is when he's like, I used to watch baseball, but this team name sucks.
He ends that. I love how he ends that sentence as, I cannot believe such things such as this are happening. A small group of people with absolutely crazy ideas and policies is forcing these changes to destroy our culture and our heritage. At some point, the people will not take it anymore.
All right, well, your Trump is atrocious, but that was
God
hilarious.
Damn it. I haven't heard his voice.
It's all right, buddy.
Yeah, he's gone.
We just wanted to hear the
I can
statement.
only do it in short bursts.
No, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I understand. You don't have to lose your mind like Anthony is.
When he writes these,
yeah.
when he writes these, do you think it is verbatim? Just he has a typist ready and he says, "Okay, write this down," or they're cleaning this up and this is the clean version.
I think that he writes these on his phone.
Yeah.
Because this all reads the way his tweets read, with like all capital letters at various points and shit like that.
Yeah, I think this
A
was
disgrace.
unfiltered DJT.
Yeah.
Why are people such against the Guardian's name? They all suck. All the names suck.
I know Curtis
Who are you
Sliwa likes
kidding?
it.
That's right. That's right. Also, Trump should like it because it's now they're the Guardians, like his friend Curtis Sliwa,
Right.
who holds
Now I'm
condoms
torn
up.
like a Republican primary voter.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I would have preferred spiders, which is what they were called like 100 years ago or something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that would have been nice. But there is a statue in Cleveland that's like known as the Guardian statue, and I think that's cool. I'm really hoping, as real Durslings know, that the Washington football team, which is scheduled to change the name in 22, will choose Hogs, which makes total sense in the franchise
They have
lore.
time to learn.
Yeah, it's
Time
an
to
original
grow.
name. But they might. I'm really worried that they're going to choose something stupid, and I'm going to hate it. Like the National. Like, it's funny because every Washington D.C. franchise, except for the Capitals, the hockey team, has had to change their name now. Like it was the Wizards, who were the Bullets, and crime was a problem and shootings are a problem. So they're like, that's insensitive. And they became the Wizards.
Now they had to change their name against the Wizards because of J.K. Rowling and her turf politics.
Right. And David Duke, they wanted to pay tribute to him. And they don't do anything related to magic anymore, which is unfortunate. As it used to be like a wizard was the logo, and now it is nothing magic related in any of their shit.
Just the word wizard.
Just the words wizards, yeah. And like
sucks.
red, white, and blue. Yeah. Some of them look kind of cool. There's the district in font with like the I is the Washington Monument. And then the Nationals, which were the Senators, would have been a good name. It's kind of a funky, kind of a quirky name. But they went with the Nationals, which is like, what are you trying to do? Are you like the band, the Nationals?
Fuck sports
The Guardians
people.
is twice as good as National.
I've never been a sports guy because like the thinking, to me, this is the most fun part of the thing. Is that all the fanfare and like the mascot, and you get to fucking simulate a war. But like they just break their face against the backboard every time with this shit. They completely, I'm not even good with sports metaphors.
They break their
I'm all imagining someone going for a slam
the
dunk
famous,
and then smashing their face against the backboard.
I see.
I just
They
watched
smush
That can
their
happen.
jelly
That's very
beans.
common.
But like there's so many cool things that you could do with this, and then they always just end up like you're naming a band really poorly, where you're like, okay, we're the area, like it's like what, they just pick a fucking concept.
We're
or something?
CT11, just a couple words and a random number.
Insane. I'm from Texas. We had the Houston Texans. What the fuck is that?
That sucks.
That sucks.
That sucks, dude. That's the most I give up name title I've ever heard.
You got armadillos down there.
Yep.
You got fucking. There's already one called Cowboys. Whatever.
Jackrabbit.
Something. Yeah. Jackalope.
Do you remember in the 90s?
Tumbleweeds.
I'm going to look this up real quick. Oh, you know
Texas,
what?
the
I think this is where the
Tumbleweeds.
name comes from. In Houston, there was... So in the 90s, the Canadian Football League tried to take over the United States, and they added a bunch of franchises to like Baltimore and Houston, which at the time didn't have franchises. And I'm pretty sure that was the name they used, the Texans. Do you remember a Canadian Football League in the 90s when you were a kid?
Hell no.
Houston Roughnecks, that's XFL. Okay.
Where were you in the date of the 90s?
But Sacramento Gold Miners was one. They choose cool names in Canada.
All those weird, like, B leagues have cool names.
Yeah.
You know who has the worst names? Is like college teams. There's, what is it? Fucking Texas Christian University is the Frogs.
What?
It's like, hold on. TCU mascot.
Oh, the
Horned Frogs.
I know them, yeah. I think that's kind of cool. You think so?
No.
I think it's cool.
Horned Frog.
I will say, a lot of people think it's stupid. I was very happy with the Seattle Kraken. I think that's a great name because they let the people vote on it.
That's pretty cool. And it's like one Kraken. Like we're a giant squid.
Yeah, the Kraken.
We collectively are a giant fucking squid.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Krakens would have been fucking weird.
Yeah, that would make no sense. I think that we're underplaying Horned Frog, and that if you saw a Horned Frog in the wilderness, you would actually be somewhat intimidated, as they are somewhat larger frogs, and just having something with horns is already scary.
Yeah, enough horniness as it is.
I was approached today by a spider larger than an inch, and I froze up. It was just large for its size.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
Very scary. Can you imagine playing basketball against it with its 8 arms?
Jake, I literally cannot. My mind reels at the idea.
Okay, so correction. It was San Antonio Texans, which were a while where they were the Riders, and then I guess NFL liked the name, so they went with it for the expansion team. But that would have been funny if that had lasted. The Canadian Football League just having a bunch of teams in America.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it's time that Pittsburgh gets a basketball team. And I was thinking about what they would be called. I think just the Pittsburgh Iron. Because there's iron is big there. But they would probably want it to be consistent with the rest of the teams there, which are all black and yellow. It's the only city where all the teams have the same colors.
I've heard the song.
Yeah, black and yellow. So I think they would go with like the Hornets or the Swarm or, something B
You've been waiting for it. The Anders cover of Black and Yellow is here. It's been 10 years and you're finally getting it.
It's in his Donald Trump voice.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. It's black and it's yellow, folks. I love steel.
You know what it is. We love it.
Yeah, he would. He'd be like, I'm doing populism. I'm going to the town where we made steel here, and now it's in China.
I don't know the other words. It's kind of he's mumbling them. I don't know what he's saying.
Folks. In related news, semi-related news, yes,
related to this,
related to me.
Related news.
Let me see if I can do a segue here. Okay. My favorite team, and I do think this is maybe the best name, is the Vikings, right? Because it is a cool thing, action-related, and is like, it's sort of the inverse of the, what the Washington football team used to be called, because they were taking another culture and, appropriating it, which, whole can of worms there, but
Could I just say I know where the segue is going, and I'm very excited?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
The Vikings are, Minnesota has a lot of Norwegians, right? They're fucking Norskies, Swedes, very Scandinavian state. So it makes sense that they'd be called the Vikings. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. And it's like, been long enough to where it's not really, if there is anybody who feels weird about that, should shut up. If you're a Norwegian and you're offended by that, get your head out of your butt rather. And who else is a Viking and actually worshipped the god of Odin that he wrote about in his manifesto. He is a man named, and this is his name, Fjotolf Hansen, which some people might know by a different name. He was the guy who shot up 10 years ago now that summer camp in Norway.
Oh.
Yes. His name was Breivik. His last name was Breivik, and he had a first name that people may remember, but I think it would be dead naming if people called him by his previous name.
Anders Breivik.
That's what he went by, but he's now
I'm imagining you're
Fjoltolf
bringing
Hansen.
him up at a comedy club, and this is your intro.
Like, he changed his name.
Yeah.
He probably will do comedy because he might, if he gets released or something, he will. Well, no, he'll probably
Guys, if
try
you
to
are
start
running
another
a show, do
fascist
not
revolution.
book Anders Breivik.
Don't do it.
There is a line.
Fjoltolf
You
Hansen.
cannot just be booking a child murderer, a mass child murderer from Europe.
What is his new name?
Fjoltolf Hansen.
Hansen.
Yeah.
Interesting direction to take this.
Yeah. But his
sir.
his plans, his views have not changed at all. He's still a fucking asshole. And he is now trying to sell the rights to his story to a studio, and he's written an entire screenplay about his fucking which is so bizarre. Like, part of me not deep down, but like, some strange part of me wants to at least watch that just to see what he views it as, just watching straight up fascist propaganda, because it'd be such a strange movie to watch from the point of view of, for lack of a better term, a terrorist.
We should
and
watch
it's good. What he's doing is good, right? For it to
Who do
be
you
portrayed that way would be just so bizarre. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, well, we should
Okay.
totally watch it. That shit's fascinating. Don't
If
be
he-
like a
Well, we
lib.
have
I mean, I
hope it
don't
doesn't
think
get
they
made
should
first.
make it. Yeah, but if they did, I would watch it.
We should
and
read
I would not pay for it.
the screenplay on the show like we did with the adult in the room or whatever the fuck.
The Nancy Pelosi one-woman show, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
question here, what is the Anders Breivik dream casting? Like, who do you think he sees as Anders Breivik?
We'll look him up.
Good question.
Tom Hardy?
Yes, honestly, they look a lot alike, and he would work out.
Jesus, this guy
Well,
looks
that's
like
generous.
a sim.
Yeah, he looks like you can tell he's a depraved, cold-blooded, fucking awful villain. That's the thing. Maybe a Skarsgård, Stellan, or one of his lads, his sons.
Yeah.
But yeah, he freaky. He would probably try to get, Mads Mikkelsen or Brad Pitt or somebody like that.
Oh man, he's so weird looking.
Yeah.
He has all these variations on whether he has hair at all. Like, sometimes he has a little chin strap beard. Sometimes he shaves all of his hair off, including his eyebrows. And then there's old pictures of him with just like blonde 90s guy hair.
Right.
My man is never not caught Zeke Heiling. He is non-stop Zeke Heiling.
Good Lord. Fuck this guy.
For a while, I think when he first got sentenced and put in jail, he wanted the death penalty. He was just like, do it. This is ridiculous. You shouldn't keep me alive. And the Norwegian state was just like, no, you're going to have to live with yourself. And, you would think he would, if you're a believer in the human spirit, maybe turn around and understand what he would, the awful consequences of his actions. But he just became more and more narcissistic and, hard-edged fascist.
Did he say why he changed his name?
I don't think so. I think just like, wants to
Just to
not
feel
be
sexy
associated?
and new again?
He
Well,
gets
he-
tired of saying Anders B here all the time. Sieg Heiling.
I think it might
This
have
is
to
such
do
a
with.
dark individual.
So he penned the screenplay from his 3-room cell/apartment in Norway. He's like separate from all the other prisoners because they would beat the shit out of him, which I think should probably be allowed. I don't know. I mean, it's
Maybe
the
they
thing.
should just let him do it a little bit.
Right. People complain about the treatment he's getting in prison. It's like, oh, he gets to pursue an education now, and he gets like decent food, and isn't tortured. And it's like, that's frustrating. I get that, but that should also just be how every prisoner is treated, right? Like if
Right. if the idea is recuperation and not punishment, that does make sense.
Right.
Although he is a very bad guy, and I don't think he should have a movie if we can avoid it.
Yeah, no, I don't think they should make the movie.
I think he's a bad guy.
I think like
yeah, he's terrible, and that's the dilemma. Is like, I mean, all we would get out of it of like torturing him or letting people beat him up or whatever is just like vengeance.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it's just catharsis.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve any purpose. That stuff is like, I think in 100 years or fucking maybe even the recent future, if anything ever gets fixed, we're going to look back at all the punitive carceral stuff as very stupid and medieval.
Right.
It is so clearly, and it's just like a byproduct of the American police state and, you know, all this shit that we've like exported. I'm reading a book about the drug war right now for, well, later on, eventually this podcast and stuff. And it's just like so it's plain as day. I mean, it's fucking stupid. Like, it sucks. It sucks because even like with our, you know, every once in a while we get to see like a person we don't like go to jail or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, like the part of you that's like, yeah, put the fucking screws to him is like meaningless, you know? It's stupid. It's just like a narrative thing. Throw them in a fucking building and keep them away if they're, you know, actively dangerous.
Right.
I will say this. It would be pretty good if they got one of those non-political actors who's pretty easy to trick, like an Ashton Kutcher, and we're like, new role for you. You're in the biopic of Anders Breivik, written by Anders Breivik. Get out there.
I mean, they could just convince Ashton Kutcher probably that it's a movie that's, you know, about him and just tell him that, it's written by Fjolthoff Hansen, and he would sign on to it not knowing that he's like producing and starring in this guy's manifesto.
Did you see his newest shit about like China?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking dumbass, and he has a lot of money and is, you know...
What was it exactly? He was talking about their intelligence?
He was talking about TikTok, and he was giving some talk on how, like, the Chinese government is going to use TikTok to brainwash its own citizens into being against, like, an American invasion so that they can beat, like, the United States in like a naval battle or something. But like the gist of it was that he's an idiot and he's following nationalist propaganda. He said, "I'm a fervent American" is a phrase he used in the middle of this, which is like,
yeah, me too. I eat like shit and like jacking off.
Yeah, what do you mean?
The premise of
like
Dude,
football.
Where's My Car is that he's a fervent American.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah.
So
That's what we be like.
He's essentially saying that, like, in order for people in China to be against United States naval battle and like intervention, they would have to be brainwashed by TikTok.
Who would want to not just lay down and let a foreign power like destroy your country and take it over?
Yeah. And
They
also
would have to watch some kind of Dua Lipa featuring DaBaby Levitate, where a teen wags their finger and says, "The Yankee Devil is coming," or something like that.
yeah.
Dua Lipa's got good politics, I will say. Dua Lipa,
Yeah, I can read right
Dua
through
Lipa's
where
got
this
no
compliment's
Mia
coming
Khalifa.
from.
Is no Mia Khalifa. I'm just saying that because their names.
I don't feel
rhyme.
comfortable with being involved in this at all.
We
But
mentioned her earlier.
again,
I'm not drawing any other illusions.
Are you rapping again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Dua Lipa ain't no Mia Khalifa. She's got good ideas when she smokes of the reefer. She
Okay.
All right.
she tips better than Queen Latifah. And
I love when rappers say
yeah.
We're
That's my
leaving
signature.
We're gonna get the meter
and
and
we're
rhythm
all
in the second
voting
draft.
for Curtis Sliwa.
Sliwa. Yeah, there we go.
All right, it's time we get wrapping up the podcast,
There you
folks.
go.
How about it?
That's right. Let's get the fuck out of here. All right. Well, this has been another funny one. Another topical news one. I don't know. Am I giving away our fucking game plan to our audience here? Sometimes I wonder, like, do you guys like it when we do jokes, or do you want the fucking hard stuff? Because I like them both. But
Speaking for our audience, I stand with our audience in saying both.
actually, you know what? Yeah, I stand with our audience against the rest of our audience.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I stand with the people of goddamn America, yearning for freedom.
Someone's got to.
I stand against all of them, actually. This is a dictatorial podcast situation.
You don't mean that.
You have
Don't
no
say
say in
that.
our show.
Don't say that.
You trust what the supreme leaders
They get to vote on a constitution.
Yeah, but it's fake. And then we're gonna
Constitution.
they're gonna do an insurrection against us. They're gonna find my apartment and bring the fucking QAnon guy, kill us all, and that's how the show ends. I'm fine with that. That'd be a cool movie.
Spoiler.
I would
We've
watch
been
the
waiting
movie.
for it.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't listened to future episodes of this podcast that don't exist yet, that's how Jake dies.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Let's see. I'll start. I'm going on tour with my pal Avery Moore. We are going from Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Albuquerque, El Paso, Santa Fe, I think maybe, possibly, LA, and Las Vegas. And I think that's it so far. That happens in 3 weeks. In mid-August. The tour dates are on my pinned tweet, and I'll put them on my website and stuff. And my other show is Why You Mad, and I think that's all I got to plug.
I am at Anders Lee here on Twitter. You can check out my other job, Redacted Tonight, on YouTube and Portable.tv. And please, if you haven't already, sign up for our Patreon. We have lots of goodies behind that paywall, including an interview with the guy from Eve 6, which is pretty cool, and our latest one, which is talking to someone who really understands data programming, systems analysis, and all that stuff about CyberSign, which was the computer system that they were beginning to get started in Chile, which would have changed the game if they had been able to continue. But it's a really interesting episode. Hit that subscribe button.
Thanks for plugging the Patreon.
Yes.
I always forget to do that.
Anders, great plug.
Also, we have
top-notch plug.
I should mention it was under Allende, not Pinochet. They were starting this cool socialist fucking planning system. Star Trek looked like Star Trek. Very cool. And then it got, unfortunately, deprogrammed. But when it was there, it was beautiful. And you got to subscribe to find out more.
We would never plug a Pinochet computer system.
No.
We think his computer systems had a lot of problems, and we are not here for it,
And we're not,
my dude.
can't even believe we're seeing such things as his computer system.
I'm shaking my damn head at it. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Patak Test Kitchen, your one-stop shop for exciting new flavors online. Please listen to the new season of Theater of Delight, Season 3. I worked very hard on it, and I think you will enjoy it if you like radio drama. And Ballin' Out Super is another podcast where I have a nice comedy show about anime, and that will be fun. And we're all having fun on the podcasts, and that's what it's all about. And those are my plugs.
Oh, fuck. I thought I was pressing the werewolf one. It's finished.
It's finished.
Did you not hear it? I think it only played through our headphones. Did you hear any of the stuff?
No, were you doing stuff the entire episode?
Yeah, he was doing like the, whatchamacallit, the organs.
Was I just talking over it?